Okay, so I've had a number of private message requests to do a better overview of the installation of the knocker that I put in the Spider-Man, which is over here. Well, I've also done the knocker conversion on the X-Men as well. So we'll have a look inside and try and stay out of the shadows here. That knocker coil assembly came from Pinball Life. It's a 2300 coil, and the bracket was made again from the mounting tang that came off the side of the knocker coil bracket, and the piece on the bottom under the coil was the strike plate. Those pieces were welded together, and that's pretty straightforward as far as that goes, if you have a welder, and of course. Now, most people were asking about the electronics, so again, I'm going to try and stay out of the shadows here. Now, the damn thing is not going to focus up close. There's just something up with that. So that plug right there, which usually hangs down by the tilt assembly. The tilt assembly is right in there. You can see that. That plug has a purple wire and a red wire. The purple wire is the 20 volt feed for the ticket dispenser, or actually the red wire probably powers the motor in the ticket dispenser. But the purple wire is the signal wire that actually makes the ticket dispenser run. Now, when you change in your menus, change from a ticket dispenser to a knocker, a brief 20 volt pulse is produced on that purple wire, and this blue, I don't have the proper plug, I've just got some solder tin on the end of this blue wire, and away it goes down to the step-up driver board. And the step-up driver board is right there. Now, the plug, you can see the blue wire coming out the top. So there's the blue wire, and then the first black wire, there's two black wires. The first black wire is the ground, and it goes over to the power box where the little outlet is on the other side of the game. I can show you where that is. It's just got a ring terminal. The second black wire is the coil negative, which you see here on the left, and then the bottom wire is actually the coil voltage output, as well as there's voltage. If you notice, there's two red wires here. One of them feeds voltage, the 50 volt source from the coils in the game. That also goes down and connects. They're both connected. One of them comes from the 50 volt coil source, and the other one goes down here to the step-up driver board. And basically what this step-up driver does is it takes the 20 volt pulse that comes from this plug right here on that purple wire. It takes that 20 volt pulse through this little blue wire here that goes down and around. It takes that and it uses that pulse electronically to switch the 50 volts that's needed to drive the coil. And the 50 volts comes from the actual 50 volt source in the game. But because this small plug up here only has a 20 volt source on it, it's not powerful enough to drive the coil by itself. So we use this as basically as an electronic switch to pick up the 20 volts, the 20 volt pulse through the violet wire, feed it into the board, which activates the board and then picks up the source. Now, I have used, there's my source right there. I've tapped off that coil. There's a 50 volt source there. I fed it down through, there's a fuse harness, there's a 3 amp slow blow in that, and I run it with the rest of the wiring all the way up the front of the machine so it doesn't interfere with the machine, with the play field going up and down. Just a quick look here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I've wiggled that around. Right there, that's the ground, and I brought it over here to this box because it seemed the best source. Any of the straps, any of this braided ground strap will serve as a ground. I have heard a guy talk about using the ground on the plumb bob tilt. Do not do that. There's something to do with having 50 volts of coil voltage go back through into the 20 volt driver in the game is not going to be good, so don't do that. So once again, there's the step-up driver board. The plug, the plastic plug Molex connector does not, you have to order that separately, does not come with the board. The step-up driver I think was $13.50. The plug was like 59 cents. The knocker coil assembly was 20 bucks. The strike plate was $1.75. And the 20 gauge wire that I had laying around was, well, basically didn't cost anything. But other than the, you know, power to run the soldering iron and so forth. But I had a couple of requests to just explain that a little better. Now, I can make these up. I can make up the brackets. I can include the wiring. If anybody wants any of this stuff, the only problem is you have to be able to use a soldering iron. This is not a plug-and-play installation. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know where the voltages are in the machine to do the proper taps. And you have to be able to solder. So I'm sorry there's not much I can do about plug and play for this particular stuff, but I thought maybe you guys might be interested in a little bit more detail in that. So thanks a lot. Hopefully if anybody needs any information, I'm going to post the link. There's a link to the instructions about how to wire this, which includes a schematic diagram, and it shows close-ups of the step-up driver and the way the other gentleman had it wired in. But I think it's the ultimate answer is to have that bracket mounted right in the middle of the cabinet right there. There's the top edge of the cabinet, and of course you can see the floor of the cabinet. It's about, you know, a third of the way up. But when that thing knocks, I'm telling you, it'll make you jump. So okay guys, glad you had a look at that, and if there's any information anybody else wants, please either PM me or just leave it here in the form of a question. It'd be great. Thanks so much for having a look at that.